Welcome back to the Rising Podcast. I'm Xavier, and you're joined here with KaBria and Cayman. Black person of the day.
Of course, let me go first. You feel trying to get into it a little bit more. Well, I do like basketball. No, I really like football. I'm not gonna lie.
Well, I know
that's my favorite.
I know Cayman's he got his mind set on football season right now.
Why you say that?
Looking at your shirt, I'm assuming that you're a Lakers fan.
You said my mind is other places.
Your mind is other places right now.
Hey,
he is not thinking about no Western Conference Finals right now.
I'm gonna talk
He's thinking about the Raiders.
Yes, I'm gonna talk about it on another sports
I don't know
podcast. I'm gonna talk about it
why.
on another sports podcast. But the Lakers elected for me to focus on myself.
Okay.
Not even the Raiders.
Rather than focus on them. So let me do this. Welcome the audience to Black Ambition Media. If this is your first time here, this is Black Ambition Media. This is the Rising, KaBria, Xavier, and myself. So go ahead and like and subscribe on the bottom for us right now. And this is why I say the Lakers made me focus on myself. I was so mad at the Los Angeles Lakers for losing in 5 games to the Minnesota Timberwolves to Anthony Edwards, who told Obama to his face. Did y'all see that clip where he was like, I'm like that. Like, I'm really like that. And they're like, bruh, like, don't leave Anthony Edwards and Obama, like, by themselves. Like, you can't leave that nigga Anthony Edwards with the 44th president of the United States by themselves having a conversation, because Anthony Edwards is really, like, Atlanta to the core. So, they beat the Los Angeles Lakers in 5 games, and guess what I did after that? I went to go watch the movie. After I did that,
after you cried,
I was so pissed. I went to go watch the movie Sinners.
Okay, okay.
So is that where you guys want to start our Sinners review? The Rising Sinners review.
Yes, we need to start.
What did you guys think about the movie Sinners? It's been like you weren't able to go on social media and actually like just navigate through Twitter or Instagram or whatever without seeing something about this movie. So what were you guys' first impressions? How did you guys like the movie? I want to hear about it.
Wow. Yeah, no. But I want to start with the build up to the movie.
Okay.
So for me, I just think it was a really good rollout as far as the anticipation for the movie, because I remember seeing trailers like, I want to say like early last year. I'm trying to remember, where it was just kind of like, what is this movie about? And then you saw like Michael B. Jordan and you're like, what is going on? At first, I really thought it was more like I didn't know it was vampires at first. I will say that. Like, since they wrote it out until like the very last trailer that they released. So for me, I just thought it was really like building up anticipation for it, like making sure people were aware that it was coming out. I think they kind of started the buzz really early, and they did a really good job at that. And so for me, I'm a horror movie person. Like, every horror movie that comes out, I'm going like without a doubt, or, you know, I'm streaming it at the crib. So for me, I thought it was Ryan Coogler is one of his best movies, and I think it's one of the best black horror films to come out in, like, I don't know, decades in a sense. I would put it probably right under like Get Out, and Sinners to me has like the same energy as far as audience like really appreciating like a black director in this space. So that's what I would say.
Okay.
And I would have to agree, like the build up, the anticipation for the movie itself. I remember, like, from the start, I knew it was going to be a vampire movie.
Oh, dang.
Because I remember a few years ago on Twitter, I saw somebody post that Michael B. Jordan and Ryan Coogler were working on a vampire movie. And I was like, oh, black vampires? That's going to be dope. But my thought process from that was that Michael B. Jordan was going to be the vampire from the beginning.
Oh,
he was going to be, the movie was going to be about Michael B. Jordan being a vampire. And that's not exactly spoiler. That's not exactly.
I mean, if you ain't seen it by now.
Yeah, if you ain't seen it
by now,
go support black directors, what you doing.
Period.
But that's not exactly the direction that it started off in. But overall, I agree. I think it's one of Ryan Coogler's best films, and that's saying a lot when he has Black Panther 1. We're not talking about 2. Yeah, Black Panther.
Definitely talking about 2.
He had Black Panther. He had Black Panther. He got Fruitvale
Station,
the Creeds, even the one with Jonathan Majors.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
he is a great director. He's making a lot of money overseas as well. This movie is doing really good, and I just think the overall messaging and the direction that they went with the movie, the music and everything, the soundtrack is amazing. And just to find out that the lead actor, the little boy,
it was his first role.
that was his first role.
Yeah.
So I'm just like being able to just do that much with your your first role is just amazing. So shout out to Ryan Coogler and shout out to Michael B. Jordan. Boy had to play 2 roles. Like he thought he was Tia and Tamara.
Right. I would say this movie is probably best movie of the year so far. Definitely.
I think hands down.
I think people
movie.
overhyped it a little bit.
I think and
you think so?
Yes,
a little bit.
I just think from what we've been
bit.
seeing from Hollywood, I just feel like this was just really refreshing.
Okay, I don't.
Don't.
I don't want to be a hater. I don't want to be a hater.
Okay, what's
That's
another
what
movie
you're
that
best
was?
Let me not say.
Okay, be a hater. I want to think like because
Hate.
even Gladiator to me too.
No,
that was like
Gladiator was great.
I didn't like
didn't like it? It was
no,
really good.
I thought it was like the same storyline. I didn't really get why
Denzel
the
did a little
second
too
one
much.
needed to be done. It didn't really to me like build up. It just was kind of like. I don't know. I feel like the first story and the second one was just too alike for me. That's all I would say. And it was very predictable in my opinion. Outside of that.
I mean, I feel like all movies at the end of the day are going to be pretty predictable.
You thought this one was predictable?
Yeah, for the most part.
Oh.
The only thing that they got me with is I don't know if I would have said that Sammy would have chose music over the church and ran away.
Oh.
I don't know if I would have said that, especially after what he went through. But after like doing some deeper reflection and analysis on the end of the movie, I can kind of understand why Coogler went in that direction.
Okay.
Like what the guitar not only represented to Sammy, but what music is kind of representing in the movie and to black people overall.
Okay.
So the only spoilers I saw were that the movie was a 10 out of 10, which was
100%
like,
on Rotten Tomatoes too.
and now I'm going there with super high expectations. But other than that, I saw people say that the main vampire was Irish.
Oh, yeah.
So that made me made my wheels turn a little bit. I started thinking, and I was like, okay, Irish. What they about to do with this? But overall, I don't know how deep we want to get into the analysis of the film.
Yeah, I think
deep.
we should get deep into this
Get
analysis
deep.
of the film, and I actually wanted to start you guys off in the beginning of the movie, and let's kind of go step by step in this.
Can we say when we watched it though? Because I only watched it once, and I watched it when it came out.
I watched it twice. I just watched it yesterday.
Dang.
I watched it. Yeah, I just went and watched it yesterday just to get a analysis because I knew.
Oh, you
Yeah.
said that on the second time?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I thought you
Did
said
you
it
go
the
on
first
Tuesday? I
time.
should have went on Tuesday.
Yeah, but
Shit.
I do want to say this on I do want to say this on the pre-production part of this. Me and Xavier did release a video before this movie even came out talking about it because Xavier was intrigued and excited about the promo of the movie, and I think that was great for you to bring up originally because the promo and what Ryan Coogler was doing as far as just talking about what he created, like at the just of everything. Ryan Coogler sat there and you heard somebody original script. You heard somebody who created something talk about the art form and talk about it in a way where you knew he loved the art form. He talked about it from a black director perspective and kind of understood the journey he has to go through being a black director, especially in the horror space, and you know the trials and tribulations you have to go through being somebody like him who has the credentials to do it, but you know white people still doubting you, and how he got the splits off of this movie as well. I think 15 or 20 years down the line, this is his
Contract
stuff.
go crazy.
There you go. So all these things were going into account before this movie even came out, and then for it to kind of, I think people were overhyping it, yes, but
really,
I think the
niggas be
pre-production,
excited.
pre-production part
think,
of this
We'll talk
was
about
very, very important to how people went and supported this movie. This was a generic, genuine, authentic rollout from Michael B. Jordan and Ryan Coogler.
Facts. And I think people should take that as an inspiration to do more original scripts. I know in Hollywood, original scripts isn't something that is kind of used as much anymore because of like the amount of money that people just flood into into movies or flood into that they want to go with something that they know is going to produce some sort of money. That's why we get a lot of reusing of the same IPs.
Right. That's so interesting you said
remakes
that.
and the same movies over and over again, because they know, like, well, people, it's already an established film, established franchise. We know there's going to be a certain amount of people that are going to come out to this, so we know we're going to recoup a certain amount of money off of this, versus coming out with a original script or original idea that people may or may not even like really like or show up. So like that's why we get a lot of these same dang Sonic 1, Sonic 2.
Hey, Sonic was good. I ain't gonna lie to you. I like
Sonic,
so.
Black Panther.
Not
Black Panther, but Lion King, but with Beyonce and Donald Glover. And it's just like it just drives me crazy. So to see an original script, especially original script with a black director, leading black actor, black cast, just do this good and just have that much support out the gate. How much money they're making out the gate, and just like you talked about, the passion that he like displayed with what he created, going out to see the differences at all the different theaters. Like I watched it in IMAX.
Dang, I need to watch it in
IMAX. Like, there's better versions out there than what I've seen, so I'm like,
okay,
I want to definitely. I've only watched it once so far. I was out of town when it originally came out, so I saw it the week I came back. But I want to definitely. I might have to go watch it tonight.
Yeah,
put it on. No, don't put it on streaming yet. But I want to watch it in my bed.
That's another conversation, but I think that ruins movies. You guys putting it on streaming so soon.
Yeah, so soon, because wasn't
Especially
it such an experience to like just look out and just see like?
Thank you.
You're just there with a like. It just brought us back to pre-COVID, low key.
Yeah. Wow. No, that was
like because
really
other than this, I don't know the last time I went to the movies, and not only was it full. But it was actually a good movie.
I do. Like this, The Blackening. Did y'all see that in theaters?
No, I didn't.
Oh my gosh.
When did that come out?
I don't know. Don't quote me on that. That's the horror movie with the black people and they go to the cabin and then the dude's playing. Have you guys seen that? It's like a comedy. Oh my gosh, y'all need to see it. But anyway, no, it's not Mike Epps. I can't tell you everybody. I'm not good at with names or whatever. I did want to go back to what you said in regards to like Hollywood and the remaking of certain movies and basically trying to get more money or whatnot because they know it's a good investment. I feel as if it's not only that and like the money piece, but I feel like it's just who's in those rooms and who's making those decisions. And I feel as if they need to give more credit and more opportunities to the Ryan Cooglers, the independent, directors and writers and whatnot, so that we can see more creative, like films and different ideas brought to the screen. And that's why I think I really do like I think it's A21 that they've been doing a lot of horror movies as well, or A24, I forgot, it's one of the numbers, and they brought like I think The Substance as well, like just these new ideas to the screen, which is hard to fund. And shout out to Coogler for the deal that he's made and all of the time that he spent on this movie, and I think it's very apparent. So for me, I think that's why I really enjoyed the movie. I feel like every scene, everything was like thought out, like every word, like it's a lot to read into, and I think he intentionally did that.
So let's start at the beginning of this real quick. Let's do an analysis of the movie. Where does this movie start out? Starts out with the scene with the cousin, the one that you said that this was his first performance, Sammy.
He was driving in the car, headed back to the church.
Right.
So the movie starts off with the end of the movie.
Boom. Yeah.
So
there
it's
you
like
go.
A full circle moment. So.
Full circle moment. He goes into the church, and he sees the white vampires.
Yeah, the flashback. That's the first time they got me.
Right.
I was like, "Ooh, demon!"
Right.
They got me with the first jump. They had me in the first half.
Right.
And I had to remind myself multiple times throughout this movie that it is a horror film. I know that's a broad spectrum, but I did have to remind myself.
And it didn't feel like that setting up. So then you
it didn't. They're telling a good story.
Really quick.
You go into
back with that.
the twins, Michael B. Jordan, Smoke, and what was the other twin? Stack.
Yeah.
There you go. And they end up splitting up, right? They buy the space first, right?
Yes, they buy the space.
I'm going off my memory. I'm sorry.
I know. That's what I was saying. I saw it too, but it's hard to go
see it
scene by
yesterday,
scene.
but
Oh, okay. So right. So yeah, we get introduced to Smoke and Stack, basically.
To Smoke and Stack, who are kind of like two sides of the same coin in a sense. One's a little bit more stern and strict by the book. Another one's a little bit more free and mouthy. and
He's
we
like
kind of
more of a
see how.
personality.
And one thing I will say in analysis of this movie, and why I would say like 8 out of 10, because I did want to get more in depth of the relationship of the twins. I feel like if we really would have got more in depth, the climax of this, when they fought each other and all that, would have been more significant in my opinion than it was. It really didn't feel like Lindsay Lohan smoked Parent Trap in 1998. That's all I'm gonna say.
I would have to disagree. I feel like it was very
What?
apparent throughout the movie how close they were and the kind of the
I have to
struggles and
agree.
things that they went through.
But you wouldn't agree. You
I
would
would
agree
agree
that
that-
Lindsay Lohan smoked Parent Trap. That's
I mean,
what you.
I'm not. Let's not.
Why
let's
are you
focus-
bringing up-
Let's focus
Michael
on
B.
sinners. Let's
Okay, I'm
focus on the
sorry.
black man who's in this movie.
Amen.
And you know,
Amen.
I ain't gonna say nothing about Parent Trap or
Amen.
whatever. It was a good movie, but
It was
if
a
we're
good
talking
movie.
about
That
a
was a
new
good movie.
space.
It was a good movie.
It was a good movie. You're not gonna take away from her. You feel me? But I just feel like it was, to me, that's why I really liked the movie, because I feel like the first half was kind of building up as far as like the characters' background, a little bit of their stories and whatnot, and I think they did a really good job from telling basically like their time in, what was it, the war or whatever together, the time when I think they left, are they in Mississippi? When they left Mississippi together, I think they talked about that as well a little bit.
Went
What
up to
happened with their
Chicago.
dad, yeah, what was in Chicago, why they came down. I feel like it was very apparent, like how they had each other's back up into it. It was very much like they understood each other, and like, I don't know, like I feel like he did a good job in a sense. Like I don't think he had to do too much, because it's like when you're twins already, and if you know twins, like I just feel like they're really connected already, and it's like small things that you have to see that, you know, they have each other's back or they know each other, if that makes sense.
1000%.
Right, I would have to agree
Yeah,
with
I don't
KaBria.
know.
I think that Michael B. Jordan did a good job with making a distinction between the two characters. Like even outside of the colors in their hats, I could tell just by the way that they vocalized their thoughts and the way that they acted. I could tell the characters apart. But I do also think that I could tell just by with those interactions as well, how close they were in a sense. I don't know that maybe it was just the end of the movie was a little corny to me.
And
Like I don't know if
But
it's
we'll
just
get
me.
there. We'll get there.
We'll get there, but I don't know. I feel like it would just take a little bit more.
Okay,
Take a little
that
bit
is
more.
my one
I know
critique,
I
would
that's
say.
I know that's your brother, but now we're getting into movie antics.
and that's why I wanted the
yeah.
relationship to build, so that could feel more impactful. At
I don't
the
even.
end.
I don't know what type of relation. There's no matter. There's no relationship in the world that would have made that believable to me.
Better, okay.
So I just I those movie antics is what kind of drops it a few points to me. I saw people calling this a straight 10. I don't think it's a 10 out of 10.
I think it's a 9.
I think I gave it a 9.
Okay.
But
8.5.
8.9, 9 out of 10. Still a great movie, but
Great.
just little bits and pieces
Exceptional.
here and there
Yeah.
that I felt like they could have went a little bit more into depth,
Right.
and
got one.
could have just been a little bit less corny. But I know you kind of gotta. They were trying to showcase a lot of thematics through music. So now we're trying to incorporate that with the movie. So it can look corny. It can turn into looking like a musical real quick.
Right. So, let's kind of fast forward into
know, we
this.
gotta get to it.
I know
So
we
they're
gotta
trying to
it.
get the story together.
So they separate. The
Yes.
twins separate. One
Uh-huh.
goes and gets Sammy, the cousin.
Yeah, and they
he
also
goes,
get
gets
the blues
musician,
player.
the blues player.
Yeah, yeah,
He
or
goes into town and gets the Asian couple,
Yeah.
which played a significant role in this movie as
Of
well.
course, to
Yes.
get the
You've seen the
sign
daughter, you've seen the business, you've seen
on
a lot of
different
that.
sides of the road.
Go ahead.
Now
Yeah,
that
yeah.
we're in the community, I like how they displayed that you're still in a predominantly black community, minority community, but all the prominent stores and businesses that are visited are owned by the same couple, the same Asian couple. So that's still kind of mirrored into today's society, where you can go into these predominantly black neighborhoods and see a lot of these stores that are serving black people but not owned by black people.
Yeah.
And we can still see that there's still that close-knit relationship between them, still that community relationship, but that relationship is tested in the movie, and we kind of see how alliances within the black community with other minority groups kind of wean in heated moments at a time. So I really do like how the movie displayed that. I feel like it did a good job of displaying not only just the closeness of their own individual relationships, but just that community relationship as well.
So was
And
it
it was
Smoke
a play at a lot of stuff.
Was it Smoke or Slim that went into the store? It was Smoke,
it
I
was
believe.
Stack.
You
Right?
thinking
No,
of-
it was Smoke. Wait,
What
Smoke?
movies you thinking of? Queen and Slim?
Well, wait, no, it was Smoke, because Stack was the
Smoke Stack.
Stack
Smoke-
was the
it was
one
Smoke.
with
It was Smoke.
with his girl who was 1/8 or whatever.
So
right?
you saw, I think. Let me go on to that. Smoke shoots the guy outside because he tried to rob the van. He asked somebody to watch it. Yep. And he said, I don't want nobody saying that they almost even robbed the twins. Like, you have to come out with some. So I thought that was powerful, but I also thought it was powerful where he was like, go patch them up. But the Asian girl goes from, like, the black side of things to the white side of things. I thought that was interesting in the relationship of how we see present day Asian Americans, of how they can, you know,
flip back and forth.
Yeah, they can converse.
The color lines.
There you go. They can converse in those white spaces way, way more than black people can, and it's always been like that since the beginning of time. So I think that was a very, very powerful message of just relationship and just status quo when it comes to American way of life in 2025.
Yeah, and then I just kind of want to build on that too, because I feel like, to your point, as far as trying to get to know the twins a little bit more and like what they're about, I feel like just coming to town and people kind of knowing who they were also kind of tells you the type of things that they had to do to survive, in a sense, but also for Smoke to still have that, and to your point, like, still care for his people and like want to create opportunities for them, but also happen to keep up this hard like image in a way as well. So I feel like it was a very much also like a connection. So I guess you could say, like, if we want to get there and get deep, like the modern like experience of black men as well, like, hey, like, and depending on who you want to explore in that, you know, in that image, you can actually choose a variety of black men, but still it was kind of having to have this type of appearance and you know, handle business. So all to say, and I think we didn't talk about it, the symbolism when this is later when they had first connected and before they split up, when they killed the snake. Yeah.
Second time I jumped.
That was very.
I'm not gonna lie, the snake got me as well. I felt bad for jumping.
That was before they had split up, and I thought that was also like a lot of good foreshadowing in the movie as well. So that out there. I hope this is making sense, because we are kind of
we are kind of
jumping all over the spot, but it was a lot because it builds.
Yeah, we're going
together.
on a timeline. They get out of town.
Yes.
You know, this and that. He gets the guy. You know, they were in the field with the wife. He says.
What
he says.
Goes to get cornbread.
His
wife said, "Go get that money.
Go get that money."
Yeah.
So he goes and gets them.
But it was also that sad moment when they were driving past the in prison, like
little
Africans
chain gang.
Yeah, and they were telling the story about like what happened and how they got there and the lynching and whatnot. Yeah, I think that was really telling them when I watched a lot of reviews on this too, but like when he started singing a little bit and like trying to like really show like what the blues was about and whatnot, I thought that was extremely powerful. But not just the blues, but just I think creative ways that black people have to deal with a lot of, you know, pain and trauma and whatnot, and how it shows up, if it's music, if it's church, like just drinking, you know, like different things that people choose as far as to handle like the black experience 1000%. When you can't really express yourself or like explain to people who may not understand it, like what it's like. So I thought it was important.
Right, and that's just another example of why I still gave this movie a 9, even with the little corny movie antics, because music plays a very important role in this movie.
Say that again.
And music is the very top pinnacle of the importance of this movie, and how it brings not only cultures together, but I liked how they mentioned it brings the devil and it brings the angels. It's going to bring everybody, all walks of life together. It can be used for good. It can be used for evil. It's all within the user's hand, but you can't control outside forces at the end of the day. But when they're kind of like really showing Sammy what the blues is, he's breaking down, talking about the chain gang, knowing all of them that are there, and breaking down into a song, and they're like, you got the guitar in your hand, like go start playing some music. And he's really like learning this is what the blues. That's another great point of when music is used in this movie. But then music is used in some pretty corny ways as well. So that's why I can't give it that 10 best movie of the decade or whatever. Just because I'm like still, but overall I do think it is one of the best movies I've seen in like the last 10 or 15 years. 1,000%. I'm not gonna lie.
So let's fast forward.
I want to break down the music part though, because I think that was also telling, and I think it was intentional.
I want
to
break down the music part when we get to that scene where they do the future thing. So let's fast forward a little bit. Okay. The other twin, he goes and visits his old girl, blah blah blah.
And they both kind of did at the same time. You think about it, like their stories are kind of lined up. They met
because he meets the other one too.
Yes.
Yeah, he was with the white girl at the train tracks.
Yeah.
That scene
But then
was-
you put your tongue in my coochie, and I thought you loved me.
It was crazy though. We'll get into that because I
Right,
thought
right.
that was interesting too, and I think it also tells you how Smoke and Stack were as far as who raised them and who really was there to take care of them and why she's upset because her mom passed away. And,
Right.
But when they even get into
Yeah.
that too, you find out that he really did love that girl.
oh, I mean, it was very apparent. I
Yeah.
was just confused. Like, why are you being dumb right now? Not in a bad way, but I don't know.
She
Say
don't
bitch,
li- she
but
did
it
not
was kind of
listen,
like
though.
you being hella dumb. Like, do you not know what time it is or like the time period y'all are in? Like,
She was being very Caucasian. Like
Yeah,
that girl
extremely.
don't know what time or place mean. She was not listening. Several times I was like, "Dang, you still here? you still here?" Dang.
right? Because I mean, technically speaking, well, we'll talk about that later. Because technically speaking,
Let's get into the other twin though, and his. You
Oh,
know,
yeah,
the
his
black
girl,
woman that
his
he
girl.
had, the
Yeah.
foundation that she laid. They had problems with a baby they had lost.
yeah.
That was something that they had talked about when he went and visited back. He said it was still hard for him to go and visit back. What do you think about the role, the pivotal role that she kind of played throughout the movie, but just the premise of how she started in the beginning of this?
You know what I think is interesting is the debate online about figuring out if that was his girl or his mom or something like his auntie. I thought that was very interesting.
Wait,
You
wait,
never
wait,
heard
wait.
that?
Wait. Hold on. We need a reaction for that. Hold
Y'all
on.
never saw that
What?
on social
Xavier.
media when they weren't sure that that was his girl? They thought it was
Xavier.
somebody else.
Xavier.
Wait,
Xavier.
are we talking about the same person?
We are.
So you're telling me that he bent his mom over that counter?
I'm talking about the first. I'm talking about the first time
You're
like when
telling
you were
me
interacting
I'm supposed to
with him.
believe he bent his mom over that counter and gave her long dick.
Okay, this is not the time to be using your little.
What podcast was you watching, KaBria?
I said
Unsubscribe.
The first 5 seconds.
Unsubscribe to them and subscribe to Black. We will never say nothing. What? I know it was the South, but wrong side.
Oh my gosh. Let me. Oh
Oh.
my gosh. Maybe I haven't been really explaining or like saying it correctly. Because in the
What?
in the first scene, you see him go and he like pats the ground. And at first I didn't hear what he said when he was saying, "Daddy's here, Daddy's here." At first I didn't hear that because I was like, what did he say? Because it wasn't very clear. I was in a theater with a lot of black people, so you already know how it goes. So anyway, that wasn't clear. And then in the first 5 seconds, like when he goes in and she gives the kids like something, they run off. He's like looking at her, or like he's like going up and approaching her. And then at first, I think that's where people were trying to figure out like what's the situation between them. I figured from the jump that was his girl.
Did they
I'm
walk
saying
out the theater
before-
after that?
I'll talk about before the situation. So
Listen,
don't-
I saw enough. Enough
Stop.
sinners for me.
Let me finish, because y'all over here talking, y'all not even letting me explain like the situation. So from that first kind of before he like goes up and like you kind of know that they were a thing or whatever, it is very much like, for example, I was with my dad and I was like, oh, that's his girl. And my dad was like, no, that's not his girl. That's somebody else. And I was like, that's weird. Like, why would you say that? That's obviously his girl. And then when I went on Twitter or X and then social media, there has been a large debate about that because they're not used to seeing a tall, dark-skinned, fully like figured woman in that role as
'cause
far
she's
as
bigger than
a.
him.
Well, I guess essentially
She was looking more
she's
motherly.
just, and then she
I see what
wasn't
you're
as
saying in that
exposed
aspect. Yeah, I can see
either.
where
Like
you're
she
going.
wasn't like, oh, like
see where
she's
you're
this
going.
I can
sexy
see
like woman. But let me finish my statement because
Yeah,
y'all jumping and shit like that. Let me finish my statement. So from there, and I'm saying like, for me, I was from the jump. I'm like, oh, that's his girl. Like it was a really weird, like strong chemistry. I could tell like from how Coogler shot it. But my dad didn't know at first, and I was like, no, that's his girl. And he was like, no, it's not. And then obviously.
He bent her over the counter.
Exactly, and they were kissed and all that. But I'm just saying there was some
Originally-
debate at the
Okay.
time, like who is
I like
that?
how you did that. I
Like,
actually like how
if
you
you
did
let
that.
me finish my
I'm sorry,
sentence,
I'm sorry.
damn.
Because I was like, who was
It's
debating?
the first time.
Oh no!
No, I'm just saying
Brandon.
like that, and I was with my dad, and it threw me off.
My
but
bad,
if you
KaBria,
think
we ain't
about
potted
it,
in a minute,
but
all
let
right?
me finish.
Yeah.
But if you sit there and think about it too, and why the movie was also so cool and like so good, is because you really don't see strong black women. And I'm blanking on the actress's name, and definitely should have had that pulled up.
Let me
But
see
you
if I can
don't
get that
see
right now.
black women who she basically represented and how she was shown in the movie as like a love appeal. So that's also why I really loved this story, because it was like real, true, like black love. Because like, for example, with Stack's girl, that's typically, and that's actually what they be pushing a lot. But you get the point of what I'm trying to say. Like, it was a very much also a good way of explaining the two brothers and the difference between them and like what they really stood for. So I thought that was also really interesting.
Annie, right? She was Annie in the film. Her name is.
And she was on what's it called?
Where you showing us?
Oh my gosh, that would be
Okay, you got.
Umani Masako.
Why you handed off?
Because he didn't
I
feel
didn't wanna butcher
confident.
your turn.
He didn't feel confident.
wanna
Unless we could
butcher-
just make sure we're saying it right,
You're
because it should be respectful.
you
But
can
she
play
played in a few movies. But
Yeah.
I really recognize her from what's his name? Who has his own Disney show? It's the.
Corey in the house?
No, it was on Disney.
She was on Corey
And
in
it was the Avengers, Loki, and then they were like going and getting people.
She's on Marvel.
Yeah, she's on the Marvel that one show. Why am I
respect,
blanking on it?
Respect. All right, let's fast forward a little bit. They meet up. It's party time, right? Or what
Yeah.
else happens before that? It's party time.
Well, yeah, we just getting all supplies together after we got cornbread and stuff. Now they're like, should we push it? They already went like.
Oh yeah, they got all the supplies and stuff like that.
Then they went and got the. We just sound like we ain't watched this movie.
But no, I think it flips after they get all the supplies and stuff. It flips to the vampire and his. And
Oh, yeah.
He appears
this
in
was
the
a good
Klansman.
flavor.
Yeah, he's getting
Yes.
chased by the natives.
Yes.
They chase him over to the clan's house.
That was very interesting too. How
I like
how
that.
they had the natives in there and telling the white people like,
Oh hell yeah.
Yeah, they were like, "Hey, you ain't trying to listen? Well, we tried. Have fun. We know he's in there."
and
but
the sun was coming up at that time as well.
yeah, they're
No, it was
the
going
sun was
down.
going down.
Our
So he
sun-
said,
Yeah.
once the sun goes down, y'all peace out. So if you don't want to listen, you don't want to let us help you right now, then have fun. And she was like, "Oh, no, whatever." Goes back and her man is dead, and next thing you know, they're playing the banjo.
They see them. No, they're playing the banjo, and
I was like, when they have
I
time
think
to
it's-
learn jingles?
right. I think it starts right then and there with
Hive
the
mind.
club scene.
Okay. I'm listening. I was just making sure I pronounced it right.
Okay. I mean,
I was just saying, like, dang, I want to make
but-
sure.
But you said it right.
Yeah, I think I did.
You said
I'm
the
getting
actor's name
confident.
right. So we start with the club scene. You know, the jazz blues player. He's playing the piano.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is where we get a lot of interactions. Whoa.
Oh my gosh, this is loose though. I'm listening though.
I got you.
I swear it wasn't me. But I am coughing. Okay. All right. Oh, thanks.
So
It's been a minute.
Yeah. It's been a minute. It's okay. So
Wait, some
yeah,
water.
he's playing. You know, the white girl comes. She gets in. Whatever.
Right.
You know,
And everybody knows who she
Fort
is, though.
Breach.
And
Fort
let's
Breach.
just be clear, though. Everybody
She's-
knows
she's
who she is. She is
25%.
very much respected.
right?
No, she's like 1/8.
She said her mama's
it's 1/8
daddy is black.
or 1/9.
You said her
1/8.
mama's daddy was half black.
Yeah, her mama's daddy was half black. But
That's
in
what she
the
said?
yeah.
That's why.
You said a quarter. You know, what a quarter would be what, your granddad?
Yeah,
No.
I don't think.
Yeah,
I
your
thought she said
granddad
her
would be-
granddaddy was black.
No, half black. Half black.
Okay.
Yeah,
her
come on
her
now.
grandpa was light skinned.
You don't got your cousins? Yeah, come on
So
now.
if her grandpa was light
No, I
skinned,
got
and then
cousins.
everybody else after that was
yeah,
Caucasian.
I have mixed family.
I think you're white.
Yeah, I
So-
mean, but at that time, she would have been considered.
1000%. So
Yeah.
you know, she comes in. She's not supposed to be at the
An
club.
lover?
She's playing these cat and
Well,
mouse
she definitely
games with
was.
her.
I mean, that too. But I'm saying she would have considered black.
She
is what I'm
definitely
trying
was.
to
She
say.
said, I didn't want to be
Racism-
white. I wanted to be with you.
And she got a whole husband and everything.
Oh my
She,
gosh.
she didn't care about him.
She didn't care.
Wasn't a nigga.
She doesn't care.
Her
I
or
know what I
Pearline.
want.
Right.
Pearline.
Trying to get me to live this white
So
life.
they're doing this. They're doing this thing at the club. Everybody's
Yeah.
having a good time.
Great time.
We see one of the twins is like, nah, man, we charging all these niggas everything.
Oh,
Don't give
yeah.
them no free drinks. Don't give them nothing.
That was
Yup.
smoke.
That was smoke. But the other one was like, Slim was like, I said, keep on saying fucking
Stack.
Slim. Stack was like,
Stack.
Like, nah, they worked hard for that fake.
they
money.
worked hard for that.
Yeah.
They've been
went
out
from
in
here.
these fields all day doing this. Like, at least give them just a little bit of leeway.
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
relax.
If you want them, especially if you want them to come back.
I mean, yeah, but at the same time, that is kind of crazy. The fuck? I mean, respectfully, like it should have
Right.
been a little. Let's have some more conversations about this.
Right. So
That's what I'm saying. Mm-hmm.
Sammy plays the blues. I'm gonna fast forward a little bit, and we see this great music scene. Music to me is one of the most powerful forces we have just in general, just in life. Tone, vibrations, how something can come to how you receive something from somebody who is musical. Like I was having a conversation, like music will never die. Like you can take away the phones, you could take away anything, you could take away CDs. There will be a nigga on the corner with his brothers out there singing for fucking change. Like music will always go on no matter what. So I think it is one of the most powerful entities in the world. And for them to have the scene with how music was back then and how it has evolved to hip hop and the dance and all that. What did you guys think about that scene? It was all right to me.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I thought that scene was amazing. You suck.
I thought
it was amazing.
I thought it was cool. I just feel like maybe for me, like the hip hop part, I feel like they could have picked a better like transition for that, and not in a bad way. I just feel like it was very like, I don't know, but you guys probably are into more music. I just feel like it was cool, but I like the idea, but I feel like it could have been executed better at that piece. Like I feel like it was very like it didn't fit. And it was like, dang, it should fit because I think I told you guys, like, I don't know, like a podcast
what they were doing,
yeah, just how the music and how it comes from like that, you know, basically the African experience and all the different genres and all the influence. I was like, ooh, I see that, you know, but I just feel like that hip hop piece could have just been executed just a little bit better. I don't know if the beat needed to be lower. I don't know what it was. Something, maybe I have to rewatch the movie, but
yeah,
I just feel like something was off a little bit.
Some of the transitions definitely could have been a little bit more seamless.
Yeah.
But overall, I like that depiction of
yes,
like
great,
like the melody and what it's can relate to, like certain like you're saying, certain vibrations in the rhythm and how that can be correlated to different points in time and different groups. And they even brought it up to not even just African music or music from the African diaspora, but like other groups as well. We had ballet in there, and it's just like music is able to, using it as such a powerful instrument, seeing everything it was able to conjure up. We saw all the good it was able to conjure up, but we also saw the evil that it brought to the doorstep.
Thank you, because that's next. What was brought to the doorstep, how they reacted. What did you guys think about those scenes of how they reacted to them?
I thought they was going to let him in. I'm not going to lie. I really thought they was going to let him in.
I don't think they was going to let him in. And I knew they weren't going to let him in because I just feel like at that time with segregation and stuff like that, it would have, especially with Smoke being so reasonable, I feel like it would have threw him off. Like, and respectfully, it would have threw anyone off.
I think if they would have played a different song, if they would have played the song they played when the white girl walked out there by herself, if they would have been playing that song at the door,
they would have let him in.
They might have. Okay, we'll see what's up. One time, and you're out of here though. But they would have let him in.
So they ended up not letting him
song
in.
Choice.
They wasn't messing with it.
Yeah.
And
the first song was weak.
I mean,
I would not let you in either.
It was cool. A little bit.
It was not fitting the vibe.
It needed a little. Yeah.
You know they were gonna ask to
more.
get on stage. You didn't think they brought out their equipment and didn't want to get on stage. But if that's the first song you playing, you ain't getting on stage. Nah, I'm sorry. Go pack it up. I'm gonna walk real slow just in case you change your mind. Nigga, get out of here. What the theme of the movie is? White people don't listen. How many times in this movie did they tell a white person no?
And they still
no, stop, go, and they just didn't listen. It's like,
yeah.
It's not 2025 yet, nigga.
I'm heckin' weak.
Right, so they reject them.
Yeah.
They're partying. You see the scene with the black guy who was in there, and they had like some trouble or something. And
when he was stealing or hiding cars when they were gambling.
Right, but at the same time, the white girl went out there to talk to the white people. And she's like, let me send me out there and let me see if I can get some money for them or something like that. They give her gold. They play her the song.
Before that though, I one thing I kind of peeped. Maybe it was just me being overly extra, but like I kind of peeped how they tried to get her with the. I know you're always surrounded by all. Excuse me. I know you're always surrounded by all these niggas. I know you probably don't have enough time to like really form community with people that look like you.
Right.
And they're like giving her that opportunity to kind of like have like a homey feeling that she doesn't get.
My mom just died. Actually,
yeah, and they was like, yeah, that was her in.
Right.
And up until they started,
You're lonely
up until he started drooling, literally up until he started drooling, she was falling for the act and probably would have been. Some mosquito was on a freaking gas electric chair. Oh my gosh.
All right.
That
But yeah,
sounded so
before
bad.
until he started, his name was Ramus.
Whatever.
Until he started drooling,
Reddick?
and she was like brought back to reality. Like, oh my gosh, these white people are tripping. She felt for the trap of like, oh, I'm with my own right now, and that's another theme that is kind of like explored a little bit in the movie, like how quick those alliances kind of fold once they are introduced or around people that look like them. And she brought that demon in the house with her.
And if you think about it, when the natives went to go help the other white people, they invited him into their house as well.
Mm-hmm.
And then she went out. Yeah, now that you said, I didn't really. Well, I knew it was because of racism, but also just being comfortable and I don't know.
I mean, yeah, of course, there's that comfortability in the people that look like you.
And even the story he told to get in the house, it was the N words that made him. But let's fast forward. They don't let him in. She ends up getting whopped. Right. She comes back in, asks Cornbread, let me in. Mm-hmm. And then she tells whichever one it was.
Not Slim.
Stack.
It's not Slim.
Stack or Smoke, whichever one. She seduces him.
Yes.
Why you
say it like that? She straddled him, laid him down on his back, and got on top, and then bit his neck off.
There you go.
But she got her something first.
But going into the conflict you had with the black man, and he was like, "Go get my brother," and Sammy didn't want to interrupt them, and then when the twin got to the door and saw that she bit him or was biting in the process, he shot her like hella times and was like,
off on her.
"Oh, we're dealing with something different." Like, cause she just got up and ran out of the room.
And that's what I was like. Okay, movie antics are kicking in now.
Movie antics and that's exactly where movie antics start.
Okay.
Yeah,
to me,
it was just movie antics up until the end of the movie. After that,
right.
And I was just like, oh, all the common sense and black thoughts that we've had throughout this entire movie are just done. It's just
really.
It's just
that's where I just had to. This is where I had to remember this was a vampire movie, and this is why this movie still gets an 8.5 to 9 out of 10 because I still had to remember it's a vampire movie.
Yeah, and now that I'm thinking about it, I kind of want to drop it a little bit. 8.8, just because I'm like, all of a sudden now we're just in movie territory where it's like all reasonable thought goes out the window. It's like he's been so. I know we could say, oh, he's grieving, he's not thinking straight, but at the same time, you know for a fact you just shot this lady with all the bullets in your gun, and she just got back up. You don't think it's time to get up out of here? You don't think it's time to go figure out a plan? But
well,
you want to
keep
trying to let people in and like go talk to your brother and convince people that he's not dead and not want to take the body out. And it's just like, oh, we're just not listening at this point. It's just.
What? I don't remember that's how the movie went.
Oh,
he
did it.
I thought they kicked everybody out.
He's like, he's not dead. He's not dead. This is my brother. He's not dead. It's like, dude.
Oh, because he was holding him, right?
Yeah, we just saw the lady that just bit this dude.
Yeah.
Just survived 57 bullets to the neck. We got to put his body out before he comes something like that. Oh, he's not dead. He's not. Oh, so when is? Oh, I can't just believe it's
I get what
all
you're saying.
gonna
I get what you're saying. Before they moved
grief,
his body.
and it just kind of between that and like the way now that we know that they gotta, since they're vampires, they gotta be allowed into the houses. The way that they were trying to be allowed in these houses, you're telling me that anybody was falling for this? Ridiculous.
The Asian
that was
husband
ridiculous.
that came back, Cornbread that came back, the twin that was like, "Let me out, open the door." That is where movie antics and, let's fast forward in the movie. All those people end up getting bit. Cornbread goes out to go to the bathroom, and he ends up getting bit. So we see that. They're forming around this safe haven of a place. And what else? Where are we fast forwarding to? They're getting ready.
I mean, they're getting ready. Like, I feel like, and I get your point, like, at the beginning, but I think for him, it was a sense of shock. And then also on top of that, you just held your brother and he just died and he was fine. Yeah. And he just shot. It's like, I think for him, it was just like losing.
This is why I needed,
but I feel like
I needed a backdrops of the Chicago moments. I needed a more formative opinion of the twins and their relationship. I understand they're twins and I understand that relationship, but Lindsay Lohan played the fuck out of that. black
Oh my
parents
gosh,
pro.
this is crazy. But I mean, to your point, I can see that a little bit, but I just feel like it was more shocking. And then I think that's where his girl came in to kind of help him snap out of it and like really understand.
And she
like,
had the information.
You need to
on
realize
the
like
vampires,
something's up, type of thing. And I feel like if she wasn't there, it would have
Everybody would have been dead.
Everybody
Yeah.
would have. It would have been bad. But to your point, like I could definitely see it. But like
But
I
also
feel like that's where you see them trying to like start. And then we didn't talk about it, but before the Asian Grace's husband dies or whatever, she tells him like, okay, go get the car when things were going on, like because they were trying to leave, and then he ended up dying. But I feel like at that time people were leaving, they were trying to figure out what to do, and that's where his girl came in and was like, okay, well, it's vampires, this is what we need to do, get garlic, let's test everybody, let's like really start gearing up. And to your point, it was silly of them trying to get in, but they were starting to form a plan and like get him back to like where he needed to be, like get his mind right so he can start thinking of something to do, because I think he was the more level-headed twin, and whatever. So I'm not gonna say nothing about that part. My only critique I would say though about the movie was the fact, and I get what you're saying, the movie antics, I feel like they could have had this scene or this section kind of drawn out a little bit. I didn't really like how quick the vampires were able to get in. I feel like they should have been able to prepare more or really like
something
set
that
up.
made the climax.
The reason they were able to get in. Why were they able to get in? Why were they able to get in the first place?
I mean, why were they
Who
able to get in?
sold? And why did they sell?
Who sold? Who sold?
Who did it?
So here we see that no matter the relationship that is formed, sometimes people are selfish.
Oof.
And they want their justice when they want it, and they don't really care who has to really die in the process alongside them.
Yeah.
So we see, I can't blank on her name, but one of the shop owners, the wife with the Asian couple, she's like, bro, what are y'all being so soft for? They over here, they got our friends and they got our family. Y'all just trying to hide in here like some bitches. Let's get down to business. And she's not being rational. She's not listening, but she knows what she wants, and she's willing to let everybody who's supported her and cared for her and protected her entire life, she's willing to let her friends die because of some vengeance that she wants to get. So she tells them to come inside, and she's the first one to die. She jumps up.
It wasn't even
she
just
jumps
that.
on her
First
husband.
one to
They die together
and killed one fucking vampire.
Well, she killed her husband. They died together.
I don't give a
and
fuck.
now
You
what?
wanna
Now
have
your
them
daughter
come in
at the
here?
house by herself.
True.
Now your daughter at the house by herself.
Clock it.
So that was the most irritating part of the movie. I think that was the
So
most
irritating.
selfish part of the movie.
I agree.
And that was kind of like, I think that just played into kind of just more of like black community's alliance with other minority groups. Like, yeah,
It never
we can
helps
form
it.
these alliances.
Never
Yeah,
helps.
we've had these connections for so long, but as soon as
Some
they
shit
have
hit
to
the
choose,
fan.
they have to choose their identity or their struggles over the groups or everything that's impacting everyone. It seems that we are always given the short stick, and people always were going to choose themselves and choose their group over black people at the end of the day. So they played with that a little bit. Yeah, that part pissed me off for real.
Right, but this is kind of the climax part, and we do need to transition soon. So climax part, we have the fighting scenes. Anything significant that you guys draw from these final moments?
I mean, I think, very clear with Smokes Girl. She was very much killing me, like, and I think it also plays into like the belief within next life and afterlife and how big that is with as far as your soul. And I feel like that was also very interesting and important to like kind of highlight, but also kind of her spiritual beliefs as well.
What do you guys think about the main guy? What was his name? Was something with an R? Remick, when he had Sammy and
In the lake and he baptized them.
Yeah.
Oh, I think it was really powerful. As far as the
So yeah,
connections.
actually, as a Christian, as a churchgoer yourself, Sunday prayer, I would like to know what you think about in his moment of fear, Sammy going to pray, and the demon following along, and he knows the prayer. He uses the prayer alongside him. He's like, yeah, this same very prayer was used to oppress my people, and I'm going to use it, and I'm going to sing along with you before I kill you. So it's like the same religion that he is using for good, same religion that he's using to kind of bring himself to comfort, is also the same religion that is known and used by the oppressors. So, like, did you have any connection with that during the movie? I know it was very religious based as well.
Mm-hmm. I think it's interesting because we already know what religion was used. It was used as a control to control our people at a time, especially when we first got here. We know that there was pages of the Bible ripped out. White people for a long time have tried to use religion to kind of control the masses, and this is where I tell people a relationship with God, a personal relationship with God, and not a relationship with your religious beliefs with the pastor, with what you see on Sundays is not always what you need. You need to have that number one relationship with God so you can understand that everything in this world is going to be used against you in order to brainwash you, propel another minority group to the top. You see what white people are going to do. They're going to get down and dirty. We've seen this from throughout history. So I do think that was very interesting. Another piece that Ryan Coogler had, and I think that was a very, very powerful part of a climax that was kind of like otherwise very, very like it
Really?
didn't let
Okay.
me.
So this what I think about that end piece is I think it kind of just brought the entire movie full circle.
Right.
We see that Remus,
Yeah.
Irish
Remick.
vampire.
Yeah, there you go.
Irish vampire man. Like he said, this was the same religion that was used to oppress my people. Now we see he wanted to originally go and build a utopia, but he's going about it in the way that an oppressor would go about it. And his group of hive mind vampires is just forced assimilation, in a sense of there aren't going to be any combative ideologies because we're all going to believe the same thing. We're all going to act the same way. We're all going to know each other's thoughts. But that's not any way to build a productive, actual, wholesome community. That's just a way to build a cult. At the end of the day, it just was a
Control
cult.
people, individuals.
He fell for the very trap that his oppressor. He became his oppressor at the end of the day. And I see that Sammy at the end of the movie, he's really thinking about what his father told him, and that's why I see after his little pond scene, lake scene with Remick, he goes back to the church because he's still grappling with the idea of, is music in the way that I want to use it only going to bring me down a dark path? Is that only used for evil? But we see what is the only thing outside of the religion, because that didn't save him at the end of the day. What is the one thing that did save him in that time? And it was his guitar. And even outside of that, because we can't just say it's not all religion, because who gave him those abilities? Who was he playing for? Where did he learn it from?
There you go.
It all goes back to God and his church or whatever. So he used that guitar. The metal in that guitar is what harmed Remick and gave him that time to get his composure and get away.
Go.
So we can see that, yeah, music can also be used to fight you from those oppressive tendencies as well. So it's just, again, you can't control outside forces. You can't control how people react to you. You can only control what you give to the world. So he's going to choose to go give out his best, and if it brings demons along the way, he know that I just hit him in the head, I guess.
You don't let him in.
Don't let him in.
I mean, can I speak on that too? Because I feel like for me, like, the movie, and like for Ryan Coogler, it's saying Ryan like I know him.
I mean, he did go to Sac State.
He did, stinkers up. But anyway, for him to have the Irish vampire, and to your point about, like, you know, saying the prayer and the history behind that and whatnot, I thought that was extremely powerful, because it's like, I feel like he has a really good, like, sense as far as, or this really good ability to make the villains almost relatable and understandable in such a way. And I think he did the same thing, like we already talked about in Black Panther with Killmonger. Yeah, Killmonger. And then in this movie with the vampire, because I feel like the story, and it surprises me multiple, like, every day, I'm like, am I the only one who knows the history of the Irish when they came to America and how they were treated, and like the discrimination and like it was crazy to me. Like, so for me to see like the Irish vampire kind of coming in, really being able to kind of speak to how at that time they were treated, which was very similar in the sense to black people at the time. It was just very interesting that he was Irish. I don't know how to explain it. Like, and I just think like the music and whatnot as well was just really heavy in the Irish culture, really heavy in black culture. So I just think it was like a really good like villain that he created as well. So that's why I really appreciate the movie.
Really great movie. I want to applaud Ryan Coogler, Michael B. Jordan for the work that they did with this movie.
Yeah, we didn't even finish that he killed the people who came back.
Yeah, he killed the people that came back, and then
I feel like that was a good
thing.
movie a little bit. I feel like that was an interesting ending to it. But I mean,
I'm glad he killed them white people.
What was
I'm glad he stayed for that end piece.
Right.
What was even more interesting, they were saying that his brother was in the place when he was like defending it. So it's like, I feel like the same way, I guess he was the one who killed their father, which they didn't really go too much in detail about like everything that happened there. But like the fact that he had to kill his father, and then his last breath, he's protecting to kill the people who were trying to. He was protecting his brother is all I'm trying to say. Mm-hmm. So I just thought that was also really good as well. And it kind of spoke to like how much he really tried to, protect his twin.
Right. And the last part of this, the vampire, the Irish vampire who said, if it wasn't going to be us who was going to mess up you guys' establishment, it was going to be other forces. And we knew exactly what other forces, and we knew exactly what that meant. When black people thrive in this country, there has always been other forces that have came and intentionally destroyed those forces. So I think that was very, very significant in this movie. But I do want to applaud Ryan Coogler.
Yes.
8.59, 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10. This is a great, exceptional movie. If you didn't go see it, please go see it. Please go support the black director and the black actor in this effort.